There's a moment in every story where leaving is still possible. This is what happens after that moment is gone. By the time Kennedy realized something was wrong, two men were already dead. Minjun was in his study, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean she couldn't follow. The words came sharp and controlled, threaded with English commands that sounded less like threats and more like decisions already made. He didn't pace. He didn't raise his voice. He simply listened, then responded, precise and final. Kennedy watched from the doorway and understood with a cold clarity that this was not the man who held her at night. This was what his father had built. They hit the Providence operation, Ji-seok said through the speaker. Burned it to the ground. 2 of our men are dead. Minjun didn't react. Send flowers to their families, he said, anonymous. Then find out who gave Sang-woo the location. Sir? It had to come from inside. I know where it came from. The call ended. Minjun turned to her. You need to eat something. I'm not hungry. That wasn't a request. The edge in his voice made her flinch. This was new. Orders instead of explanations. Expectation instead of asking. She understood why. Control was the only thing he had left. I'll eat if you eat, she said quietly. Something flickered in his eyes. He nodded once. They went to the kitchen in silence. The days blurred together. Kennedy couldn't leave the house. The gates stayed closed. The guards stayed posted. Her phone stayed silent. Whatever Minjun was fighting, it had already reached her. Dr. Park called on day 5. Minjun answered, put it on speaker. Where is she? Dr. Park's voice was tight with worry. Kennedy hasn't shown up for work in a week. She's not answering her phone. If something's happened, she's safe, Minjun said quietly. There was a security threat. I'm handling it. A security threat? Minjun, what the hell is going on? First, you're never at the gallery. Now Kennedy disappears. Catherine. His voice sharpened. I need you to trust me. Kennedy is safe. She'll return to work when the situation is resolved. And when will that be? I don't know. A pause, then quieter. Is she there? Can I speak to her? Minjun looked at Kennedy. She shook her head. If she spoke, she would break. She'd hear the worry and the confusion, and she'd have to explain something she didn't understand herself. She's resting. Minjun lied smoothly. I'll have her call you when she's able. He hung up before Dr. Park could protest. Kennedy stared at him. I have a life, Minjun. People who care about me, I can't just disappear. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do. This is my life. This is your life now. His voice was harsh. The moment Sang-woo made you a target, your old life ended. Your apartment, your job, your friends, all of it is leverage. All of it can be used to hurt you. So what am I supposed to do? Just hide here forever? Until I finish this. Yes. Kennedy laughed bitterly. And how long will that take? Weeks? Months? You're asking me to give up everything. I'm asking you to stay alive. Minjun's control cracked. Do you understand what they'll do to you if they get their hands on you? Not kill you, that would be mercy. They'll take you apart piece by piece and send me the recordings. They'll make you beg. He stopped, turned away, fists clenched. Kennedy's anger dissolved into something colder. You've seen this before. Yes. Jiwoo? Minjun nodded once, sharp. They found her 3 years after I let her go. After the trial, after witness protection, after she'd built a new life with a new name. They found her anyway. His voice went hollow. And they made sure I knew exactly what they did before she died. Kennedy's chest constricted. Minjun, so forgive me, he continued, voice raw. If I'm willing to cage you to keep you breathing, because I've already buried one woman I couldn't protect. I won't bury you too. The silence was suffocating. Kennedy crossed the room slowly, wrapped her arms around him from behind, felt him shake. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know." "Now you do." He pulled her arms tighter around himself, like she was the only thing keeping him from flying apart. "Now you understand why I can't let you go. Why I'll burn everything I've built before I risk losing you. Even if it means losing myself?" Minjun turned in her arms, looked at her with eyes that held too much pain. Even then, the breaking point came on day 12. Kennedy woke to find Minjun already gone, his side of the bed cold. She found a note on the kitchen counter. "Emergency. Stay inside. Ji-seok is posted outside. I'll explain everything when I return. M." But noon came and went, then evening, then midnight. Kennedy called his phone. It went straight to voicemail. She called Ji-seok. He answered on the first ring. "Miss Hayes, are you all right?" "Where is he?" "I can't disclose Mr. Huang's location." "Ji-seok, please, I need to know he's okay." Silence. Then, there was an ambush. At the meeting with the Changpa group, Mr. Huang is handling it. Kennedy's blood ran cold. "Is he hurt?" "I don't have that information." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you." Ji-seok's voice softened fractionally. "He'll come back, Miss Hayes. He always does." The line went dead. Kennedy stood in the silent house and felt the walls closing in. Minjun returned at 3 a.m. Kennedy heard the door open, heard his footsteps. Uneven, slower than usual. She ran to the foyer and stopped. He was covered in blood. Not dripping, not theatrical. Just enough to paint his shirt collar, his knuckles, a streak across his jaw. His suit jacket was gone. His tie hung loose, and his eyes were utterly empty. "Minjun, it's not mine." His voice was flat. "Most of it. Anyway." Kennedy's hands shook as she approached him. What happened? What needed to happen? He moved past her toward the stairs. "I'm going to shower." "Let me help." "No." The word was sharp, final. "I don't want you to see this, to touch me when I'm—" He stopped. "Please, just give me an hour." Kennedy watched him climb the stairs, each step heavy with exhaustion. She didn't give him an hour. She gave him 20 minutes. Then she went upstairs, found the bathroom door unlocked, walked in. Minjun sat in the shower, still partially clothed, water running cold over his shoulders. His shirt was off, revealing bruises blooming across his ribs. His hands were shaking. Kennedy didn't ask permission. She stepped into the shower fully clothed, sank down beside him, and pulled him into her arms. He resisted for exactly 3 seconds. Then he collapsed against her, face buried in her neck and shattered. No tears, just tremors that racked his entire body, silent and devastating. Kennedy held him, whispered nonsense, ran her fingers through his wet hair until the shaking subsided. "I killed 4 men tonight," he whispered against her skin. One of them was 23, had a photo of his daughter in his wallet. Kennedy's throat tightened. "He pulled a gun on me. I didn't have a choice. But all I could think was, this is what loving you costs. This is the price we're paying." "Minjun, I'm not good, Kennedy. I'm not redeemable. I'm exactly what you saw in that club. Something cold and cruel and too broken to fix." He pulled back just enough to see her face. "You should leave, while you still can. While there's still something of yourself left to save." Kennedy cupped his face. "And go where? Back to an apartment that's been compromised? Back to a job I can't do? Back to a life that doesn't exist anymore? I'll give you money, a new identity, a fresh start somewhere far from all of this. Is that what you want?" "It's what you should want." "That's not what I asked." Kennedy's eyes held his. "Do you want me to leave?" Minjun's jaw clenched. "No." "Then I'm staying. You're going to hate me eventually, for trapping you here. For making you complicit in things you can't forgive. Maybe. Kennedy leaned her forehead against his. But I'll hate you here, where I can see you, where I can make sure you survive this. Min Jun's laugh was broken. You're as damaged as I am. I know. She kissed him softly. We match. The call came 3 days later. Min Jun was in his study when his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered on speaker so Kennedy could hear. Hwang Min Jun. The voice was female, Korean, unfamiliar. I have something of yours. Min Jun went still. Who is this? My name doesn't matter. What matters is I'm holding Park Mika, 25 years old, works in marketing, best friend of Kennedy Hayes. Kennedy's world tilted. If you've hurt her, Min Jun started. She's unharmed, for now. But Mr. Lee would like to remind you that everyone you care about is vulnerable, even the ones you're trying to protect. What do you want? The Baltimore routes, full access, signed over by Friday. Or Miss Park learns what happens to people who get too close to Hwang Min Jun's world. The line went dead. Kennedy couldn't breathe. Mika. They have Mika. Min Jun was already moving. Phone out, calling Ji-seok. I need a location trace on that call. Pull traffic cameras, cell tower data, everything. Find her. He hung up, turned to Kennedy. Her face was white, eyes wild. This is my fault, she whispered. She's in danger because of me. No, she's in danger because of me. Min Jun's voice was steel. But I'll get her back. How? If you give them the roots, they win. If you don't... Kennedy's voice broke. She's my best friend, Min Jun. She's the only person who... She couldn't finish. Min Jun crossed to her, gripped her shoulders. Look at me. I will get her back. I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I have to do. I will bring her home. Promise me. I promise. He pulled her close. But Kennedy, this changes things. They're not just targeting you anymore. They're targeting everyone you love. Your mother, your friends, anyone who matters to you. What are you saying? I'm saying I can't protect them all. Not while fighting a war on 3 fronts. His eyes were dark. We have to make a choice. What choice? You have to disappear. Completely. New name, new country, no contact with anyone from your old life. It's the only way to keep them safe. Kennedy pulled back. You want me to leave everyone? Just abandon them? I want you to survive. And I want them to survive. This is the only way to do both. What about Mika? I'll get her back first. But after that... He stopped. Kennedy, if you stay in my world, everyone you love becomes a target. Your mother will be next. Then your cousins. Then everyone else. I can't stop them from using the people you care about as weapons. Kennedy sank onto the couch, face in her hands. This was the cost. Not her life, but everyone else's. Not her safety, but theirs. How long would I be gone? Years, maybe forever if this war doesn't end. And you? I stay. I finish this. I make sure Sang-woo never threatens anyone I care about again. Alone? Min Jun nodded. Alone? Kennedy looked up at him, saw the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight he carried, the way he was offering to let her go even though it would destroy him. No. Kennedy. I said no. She stood. We find another way. We get Mika back and then we figure out how to end this without me disappearing forever. There is no other way. Then we make one. Kennedy's voice was firm. I'm not running, Min Jun. Not from this, not from you. We're going to save Mika, and then we're going to burn Sang-woo's organization to the ground. Together. Min Jun stared at her. You have no idea what you're asking. Then show me, teach me, make me understand your world well enough to survive it. She moved closer. You said I was your weakness. Fine, but I'm also your partner. So stop trying to protect me and start trusting me to fight. For a long moment, Min Jun was silent. Then he nodded slowly. All right. But if I teach you this world, there's no going back. You'll know things you can't unknow. You'll be complicit in things you can't forgive. I'm already complicit. Kennedy took his hand. The moment I climbed on your lap, I chose this. All of it. So stop giving me exits and start giving me weapons. Minjun pulled her close. You're extraordinary. And I'm going to regret this. Probably. Kennedy looked up at him. But you're going to do it anyway. Yes. He kissed her forehead. God help us both. The rescue operation took 48 hours to plan. Minjun brought Kennedy into his war room, a space she'd never seen before, filled with monitors and maps and weapons she didn't want to think about. Sang-woo is holding Mika in a warehouse in Baltimore. 4 guards, rotating shifts, minimal security because he thinks we won't move before Friday. Minjun pointed to a blueprint. We go in tonight. Small team, fast extraction. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. She's my friend. She'll be terrified. She'll trust me faster than she'll trust your men. Minjun's jaw tightened. If something goes wrong, then we handle it together. Kennedy's voice was steel. I'm not sitting here waiting anymore. I'm done being protected. They stared at each other. Another battle of wills. Finally, Minjun nodded. You stay in the car until we've secured the building. You don't move, don't breathe, don't exist until I come get you. Understood? Understood. It was another lie. They both knew it was another lie. But this time, Minjun didn't call her on it. The warehouse was exactly as Minjun had described. Industrial, isolated, poorly defended. Too easy. Kennedy felt it the moment they arrived. Something was wrong. Minjun felt it too. She saw him signal to Ji-seok, saw the team spread out with weapons drawn. Stay in the car, he told Kennedy, no matter what you hear. Then he was gone, moving through the darkness like a shadow. Kennedy waited. 1 minute, 2, 5. Then she heard the gunshot. Her body moved before her mind caught up. Out of the car, toward the warehouse entrance, heart hammering, Ji-seok caught her. Miss Hayes, no. Another gunshot. Closer. Then Minjun's voice, sharp and commanding. Kennedy, run. She didn't run. She shoved past Ji-seok, through the warehouse door, and stopped. Minjun was on his knees, gun to his head, held by one of Sang-woo's men. 3 bodies on the ground. His team, bleeding, maybe dead. And in the center of it all, tied to a chair, was Mika. Alive, terrified, staring at Kennedy with wide eyes. Kennedy Hayes. Sang-woo emerged from the shadows, smiling. So glad you could join us. We've been waiting. This was a trap. It had always been a trap. And Kennedy had walked right into it. Sang-woo circled her slowly, like a predator assessing prey. Did you really think I'd make it this easy? That I'd leave your friend poorly guarded and hope Hwang Minjun would take the bait? He laughed. I've been hunting men like him for 30 years. I know how they think. I know they'll sacrifice everything for the women they love. Minjun's eyes met Kennedy's across the warehouse. She saw fury there, and underneath it, terror. Let them go, Minjun said quietly. This is between us. Is it, though? Sang-woo moved behind Kennedy, hand settling on her shoulder. She flinched. Because from where I'm standing, this is about leverage, about teaching you that weakness is fatal, about showing every organization in this city what happens when the white tiger goes soft. His hand tightened on Kennedy's shoulder. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign over the Baltimore routes. You're going to give me 20% of your entire operation, and you're going to publicly acknowledge that you're no longer fit to lead. And if I refuse, then I kill the friend first. Make Miss Hayes watch. Then I kill Miss Hayes. Make you watch. Sang-woo's voice was pleasant, conversational. And then I let you live. Broken, destroyed. A warning to anyone else who thinks love is worth more than power. Minjun's face was stone. But Kennedy saw his hands shaking. He was going to give in. He was going to sacrifice everything to save her and Mika, and Sang-woo would win. Kennedy made a choice. "Do you know why he fell for me?" she asked quietly. Sang-woo paused. "What?" "I asked if you know why he fell for me." Kennedy turned slowly, looking Sang-woo in the eye. "It wasn't because I was beautiful or special or anything you're thinking. It was because I was reckless enough to touch him when everyone else knew better." "Fascinating. And your point?" "My point," Kennedy said, "is that I'm still reckless." She grabbed the gun from Sang-woo's waistband and fired. Not at Sang-woo. She wasn't fast enough, wasn't trained enough. At the man holding Min-jun. The shot went wide. Hit his shoulder instead of his head. But it was enough. Min-jun moved like lightning, twisted free, grabbed the man's gun, put 2 bullets in him before he hit the ground. Chaos erupted. Sang-woo dove for Kennedy. She stumbled back, lost the gun, fell. Min-jun was there. Between them, gun trained on Sang-woo with absolutely steady hands. Touch her and die. Sang-woo froze, smiled slowly. "You won't shoot me. Too many witnesses. Too many cameras. This warehouse is wired, Hwang. Everything that happens here gets broadcast to every organization leader on the East Coast." "I know." Min-jun's voice was calm. "I'm counting on it." He fired. The bullet took Sang-woo in the chest. Center mass. Professional. Clean. Sang-woo collapsed, blood spreading across the concrete. Min-jun didn't watch him fall. Just moved to Kennedy, pulled her up, checked her for injuries with frantic hands. "Are you hurt? Did he—" "I'm fine. Mika—" Ji-seok was already cutting Mika free. She was sobbing, shaking, but alive. Kennedy ran to her. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What the hell is happening?" Mika's voice was raw. "Kennedy, who are these people?" "I'll explain everything, I promise, but right now we need to go." Min-jun was on his phone, speaking rapid Korean. When he hung up, his face was grim. "We have 10 minutes before police arrive. We need to move. Now." They ran. In the car, speeding away from the warehouse, Kennedy finally let herself shake. Mika was in the other vehicle with Ji-seok. Safe. Traumatized, but safe. Min-jun drove in silence, knuckles white on the steering wheel. "You shot him," Kennedy whispered. "I did. In front of cameras, in front of witnesses." "Yes." "Why?" Min-jun was quiet for a long moment. Then, "Because I needed to send a message. That anyone who threatens you dies. That I don't negotiate, don't compromise, don't show mercy when it comes to protecting what's mine. But the consequences will be severe. Every organization on the East Coast just watched me execute a rival leader. They'll either fall in line or come for me." He glanced at her. "I've started a war, Kennedy. A real one. And I did it for you." Kennedy's chest tightened. "I didn't ask you to—" "I know. But I did it anyway." His voice cracked. "Because when I saw him touch you, when I thought for 1 second that I might lose you, nothing else mattered. Not power, not money, not survival. Just you. Alive. Safe. Mine." He pulled the car over abruptly, put it in park, turned to face her. "I've lost everything tonight. My alliances, my reputation, my carefully built neutrality. In one moment, I destroyed 15 years of work." His eyes were dark, fathomless. "And I'd do it again. I'd burn everything I've built 1,000 times over if it meant keeping you breathing." Kennedy's eyes filled with tears. "That's not love, Min-jun. That's obsession, possession, whatever you want to call it." He cupped her face. "But it's also the only honest thing I've felt in 15 years. You're the only real thing in my world, Kennedy. And I'll destroy anyone who tries to take you from me." Kennedy kissed him, desperate, grateful, terrified. When they broke apart, she whispered, "What happens now? Now we survive. Together." He started the car again. But Kennedy, the cost of tonight is going to be steep. I've made enemies I can't unmake. Started something I might not be able to finish. Then we finish it together. Minjun's hand found hers, held tight. Together, he agreed. But as they drove through the dark city, both of them knew the truth. Something had been broken tonight that couldn't be fixed. Sang-woo was dead. Mika had seen too much, and Minjun had revealed to the entire criminal underworld that Kennedy Hayes was his weakness. The war was no longer coming. It was here. If love costs you your name, your family, and your freedom, is it still love? Or just survival? The safe house was in rural Virginia, 2 hours from D.C., buried in woods that turned hostile after dark. Minjun owned it through 3 shell companies, kept it stocked for emergencies that had never come. Until now. Kennedy sat in the kitchen at 4 a.m., watching Mika sleep on the couch through the open doorway. Her best friend hadn't stopped shaking for 6 hours, hadn't spoken except to ask the same question over and over. What did I see? What did I see? The answer was simple. Kennedy's new reality. Minjun executing a man in cold blood. Ji-seok cleaning up bodies like he'd done it 1,000 times. A world where violence was currency and life was negotiable. And Kennedy, standing in the middle of it, holding a gun she'd stolen. Complicit. Minjun entered the kitchen silently, moved to the coffee maker. He'd showered, changed, looked almost normal except for the bruise blooming along his jaw and the way his hands were too steady, controlled past the point of natural. She needs a doctor, Kennedy said quietly. I've called one. He'll be here in an hour. Discreet. He won't ask questions. What about the police? Someone must have reported. The warehouse belongs to a holding company that doesn't exist on paper. The cameras were disabled remotely 30 seconds after we left. And Sang-woo's body, Minjun paused, is being handled. Kennedy's stomach turned. Handled how? Do you really want to know? She didn't. But that was the problem. She'd stopped wanting to know a lot of things, had learned to turn away from questions that had answers she couldn't survive hearing. When had that started? Mika can't stay here, Kennedy said instead. She has a life, a job. People will notice she's gone. I know. So what's your plan? Keep her locked up until she promises not to talk? Threaten her family if she goes to the police? Minjun's jaw tightened. I'm going to give her money. Enough to disappear if she wants to. Enough to rebuild somewhere far from all of this. She doesn't want money. She wants her life back. That's not possible anymore. Minjun turned to face her. The moment Sang-woo took her, the moment she saw what she saw, her old life ended. We can give her money, protection, a new start, but we can't give her yesterday back. Because of me. Because of us. His voice was flat. Because I'm what I am. Because you chose to stay. Because the world I live in doesn't forgive proximity. Kennedy stood abruptly. Don't do that. Don't make this sound inevitable. You could have let me go. Could have pushed me away after the club. Could have what? Been stronger? Been better? Minjun's laugh was bitter. I'm not good, Kennedy. I never pretended to be. You knew what I was and stayed anyway. I didn't know it would cost Mika her entire life. Then you weren't paying attention. The words landed like a slap. Kennedy stared at him. At this man she'd let into her bed. Her body, the soft parts of herself she'd thought were too damaged to hurt anymore. And saw the truth she'd been avoiding. He was right. She had known. On some level, she'd known exactly what staying would cost. Had seen the bodies, the blood, the casual cruelty of his world, and she'd chosen it anyway, which made her just as culpable as him. I need air, Kennedy whispered. She walked out before he could respond. Dawn broke cold and gray over the Virginia woods. Kennedy stood on the porch, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like cedar and gun oil, watching the forest wake up. Behind her, she heard the front door open, Footsteps. Then Mika's voice, small and broken. Kennedy? Kennedy turned. Mika looked like a stranger. Eyes red-rimmed, face pale, wearing clothes Jisuk had provided that hung wrong on her frame. But it was her expression that hurt. Confusion giving way to something worse as she really looked at Kennedy. Recognition, understanding, betrayal. You knew, Mika said quietly. Didn't you? You knew what he was. What they all are. Kennedy's throat closed. Mika, that's why you disappeared. Why you stopped answering my calls. You weren't in danger. You were with him. Choosing him. Mika's voice cracked. I was kidnapped because of you. Because of choices you made. And you knew this could happen. I didn't think... You didn't think what? That there would be consequences? That loving a gangster would put the people around you at risk? Mika laughed, high and sharp. Or you just didn't care. That's not fair. Fair? Mika stepped closer. I spent 3 days tied to a chair, Kennedy. 3 days listening to them plan what they'd do to me if your boyfriend didn't cooperate. They described it, in detail, what they'd cut off first, how long they'd make it last. Kennedy felt bile rise in her throat. And you know what the worst part was? Mika's eyes were bright with tears. I kept thinking, Kennedy will save me. She's smart. She's strong. She'll figure something out. I believed in you right up until I saw you walk into that warehouse like you belonged there. Like you were part of their world. I'm not... Yes, you are. Mika's voice went cold. You're sleeping with a murderer. You watched him kill a man and the only thing on your face was relief. Not horror, not guilt. Relief. Because he did it for you. Kennedy couldn't breathe. I don't know who you are anymore, Mika whispered. But you're not my friend. My friend would never have chosen this. Would never have put me in danger for Dick from a psychopath. The silence was absolute. Then Kennedy heard herself say, You're right. Mika blinked. What? You're right. About all of it. Kennedy's voice was hollow. I made choices that put you at risk. I knew Minjun was dangerous and I stayed anyway. I watched him kill Sang-woo and all I felt was gratitude. She met Mika's eyes. I'm not the person you knew. That person is gone. And I'm sorry. Mika stared at her, waiting for more, for justification, for excuses, for Kennedy to fight back. But Kennedy had nothing left to give. The man Minjun called will be here soon, Kennedy said quietly. He's a doctor. He'll make sure you're okay. And then Minjun will give you enough money to start over somewhere safe. Somewhere far from me. Kennedy, I can't fix this, Mika. I can't give you your old life back. All I can do is make sure you survive long enough to build a new one. Kennedy's voice cracked. And I'm so sorry that's all I have. She walked back inside before Mika could respond. The doctor arrived at 6 a.m. Older, Korean, with the particular efficiency of someone who'd spent a career asking no questions. He examined Mika in the guest bedroom, gave her sedatives, left instructions with Ji-seok. Minjun wrote a check for $200,000, put it in an envelope with a burner phone and an address in Portland. She can start over there, he told Kennedy. New name if she wants it. New life. My people will make sure no one from this world follows her. Will it work? If she's smart about it. If she doesn't try to contact you or anyone from her old life. If she disappears completely. Minjun's eyes were dark. If she can live with never knowing whether her friends and family think she's dead or just abandoned them. Kennedy's hands shook. That's not a life. That's witness protection without the protection. It's survival. That's all I can offer her. It's not enough. I know. Minjun moved closer. But it's what we have. Unless you have a better solution. Kennedy didn't. She watched through the window as Ji-seok loaded Mika into a car 2 hours later. Watched her best friend leave without saying goodbye, without looking back, disappearing into a future Kennedy had destroyed. When the car was gone, Kennedy sank onto the couch and let herself break. Minjun sat beside her. Didn't touch, didn't speak. Just existed in the same broken space until her tears ran dry. "I've lost her," Kennedy whispered. "My best friend, the person who knew me before all of this. She's gone." "Yes. And it's my fault." "Yes." No comfort, no lies, just truth, delivered like a scalpel. Kennedy looked at him. "Do you feel anything? Guilt? Regret? Anything?" Minjun was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I feel relief that she's alive. Satisfaction that I killed the man who threatened her. And cold, absolute certainty that I'd do it all again if it meant keeping you safe. That's not normal. I know." He finally met her eyes. "But it's honest. You wanted me to be honest." Kennedy stood abruptly. "I need to call my mother. She's probably worried." "No." "Excuse me?" "You can't contact her. Can't contact anyone from your old life. Sangwoo's organization knows about you now. They'll be watching your mother, your family, anyone you care about, waiting for you to make contact so they can trace it." "So what am I supposed to do? Just let her think I'm dead?" "Yes." Minjun's voice was steel. "Until this is over. Until I've eliminated every threat. You let everyone you love think you're gone." Kennedy's laugh was broken. "How long will that take?" "I don't know." "Weeks? Months? Years?" "I don't know, Kennedy." He stood, moved to the window. "I killed Sangwoo on camera. Showed every organization on the East Coast that I'm willing to go to war for you. That makes me vulnerable, which means they're all circling, deciding whether to strike while I'm weak or ally with me while I'm dangerous. And me? You're the reason I'm weak, which makes you the most valuable target they have." He turned and his eyes were hollow. "So you can't contact your mother? Can't go back to DC? Can't be Kennedy Hayes anymore? Not until I've secured enough power that killing you would cost more than it's worth." The words settled over Kennedy like ice. "You're asking me to disappear. I'm asking you to survive. By giving up everyone I love? Everything I am? By staying alive long enough for me to fix this?" Minjun moved closer. "I know what I'm asking. I know the cost. But it's temporary. Once the dust settles, I'll be someone else. Someone who abandoned her mother, ghosted her friends, disappeared without explanation." Kennedy's voice rose. "You're not asking me to hide, Minjun. You're asking me to die without actually dying. Then give me an alternative." His voice was harsh. "Tell me how to keep you safe while maintaining your old life. Tell me how to protect your mother from people who'll torture her to find you. Tell me how to let you be Kennedy Hayes while every organization in the criminal underworld knows your name." Kennedy had no answer. "That's what I thought." Minjun turned away. "So we do this my way. You disappear. I fight. And when it's over, if it's ever over, maybe you can reclaim pieces of who you were. And if I can't? If I've lost too much to go back? Then you'll be like me, alive but hollow." He looked at her over his shoulder. "At least we'll match." 3 days later, Ji-seok brought news. "Sir, we have a problem." They were in Minjun's DC office. He'd insisted on returning despite the risk, needed to maintain appearances, show strength. Kennedy sat in the corner, reading intelligence reports she didn't want to understand, learning the language of violence. "What kind of problem?" Minjun asked without looking up from his tablet. "Dr. Catherine Park has filed a missing person report for Kennedy Hayes. She's contacted the police, the FBI, even reached out to Kennedy's mother in Richmond." Kennedy's head snapped up. "What?" "Dr. Park is telling everyone that Kennedy hasn't been seen in 3 weeks. That her last known location was Convergence Gallery. That she's concerned for Kennedy's safety." Ji-seok paused. "The story is gaining traction. Local news picked it up this morning." Minjun's jaw tightened. "Show me." Ji-seok pulled up a news article on his phone. Kennedy moved closer, read over Minjun's shoulder. Local curator missing for 3 weeks. Kennedy Hayes, 26, a recently hired assistant curator at Georgetown's Convergence Gallery, has not been seen since early October. Friends and colleagues report that Hayes, who has no history of mental illness or erratic behavior, stopped responding to calls and messages without explanation. There was a photo. Kennedy at her Howard graduation, smiling, full of hope and possibility. She looked at that girl and barely recognized her. Dr. Park is smart, Minjun said quietly. She knows something's wrong. She's trying to force my hand, make me produce you or confirm her suspicions. So let me call her, Kennedy said. Let me tell her I'm okay. And say what? That you're voluntarily hiding from your life? That you're with me of your own free will? Minjun shook his head. She won't believe you. She'll think I'm coercing you. And even if she did believe you, the moment you make contact, you expose your location to anyone monitoring the call. Then what do we do? Minjun was silent for a long moment. Then, we let the story run. Let people think you're missing. Let Dr. Park file her reports and the police investigate, and the news cycle move on to the next tragedy. You want me to let my mother think I've been kidnapped? Or worse? I want your mother to stay alive. Minjun's voice was hard. If she thinks you're missing, she'll grieve, but she'll be safe. If she knows you're with me, they'll use her to draw you out. Which would you prefer? Kennedy felt something break inside her chest. I hate you, she whispered. I know. Minjun didn't look at her. But you'll hate me alive. That's all that matters. That night, Kennedy called her mother anyway. She used a burner phone, routed through 3 different servers, took every precaution Minjun had taught her. And at 11 p.m., when she knew her mother would be awake, she dialed. Sharon Hayes answered on the second ring. Hello? Kennedy's voice broke. Mama. Silence. Then a sob. Raw, desperate, relieved. Kennedy? Baby, is that you? Where are you? Are you okay? The police said, I'm fine, Mama. I'm safe. I needed to hear your voice. Where are you? Everyone's looking for you. Dr. Park said you disappeared, and the news is saying, Kennedy, what's happening? Are you in trouble? No. Yes, it's complicated. Then uncomplicate it. Tell me where you are, and I'll come get you. We'll figure this out together. Kennedy closed her eyes. I can't tell you where I am, and you can't come get me. I needed you to know I'm alive. I'm okay, and I'm sorry for scaring you. Kennedy, you're not making sense. If you're okay, why can't you come home? Why are the police involved? Because I made choices, Mama. Choices that have consequences, and now I have to live with them. What kind of choices? Kennedy, you're scaring me. I know. And I'm sorry. But I need you to trust me. I'm safe. I'm with someone who... Kennedy stopped. How could she explain Minjun? I'm with someone who's protecting me. Protecting you from what? From things I can't explain. Things that would put you in danger if you knew. Sharon's voice went cold. Is this about a man? Kennedy's silence was answer enough. Kennedy Hayes, are you telling me you've disappeared from your life? Worried everyone who loves you? Made the news? All because of some man? It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Make it make sense. Kennedy opened her mouth, closed it, realized she had no explanation that wouldn't confirm her mother's worst fears. I can't, she whispered. Can't or won't. Does it matter? Yes, Sharon said sharply. It matters because one means you're in danger and need help. The other means you've chosen this. Chosen to hurt the people who love you. Kennedy felt tears slide down her face. I'm sorry, Mama. Sorry isn't good enough. Sorry doesn't explain why my daughter has been missing for 3 weeks. Sorry doesn't... Sharon stopped. When she spoke again, her voice was shaking. Are you safe? Truly safe? Or are you telling me what you think I need to hear? I'm safe, I promise. And this man you're with, is he good to you? Kennedy thought about Minjun, about the way he held her at night like she might disappear, about the way he killed for her without hesitation, about the way he was slowly, methodically destroying her old life to keep her alive. He's complicated. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Sharon was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'm your mother, Kennedy. I know you. And I know when you're lying to yourself. Her voice softened. Whatever you've gotten yourself into, whatever choices you've made, you can still walk away. You can still come home. No, I can't. Why not? Because I love him. The words escaped before Kennedy could stop them. I love him, Mama. And that means I'm tied to this. To him. To all of it. And I don't know how to untie it without... She stopped. Without what? Without losing him? Without dying? Without becoming someone she didn't recognize? All of the above. Oh, baby. Sharon's voice broke. Love shouldn't feel like a trap. I know. So why are you staying? Kennedy thought about that. About Minjun's hands shaking after he killed Sang-woo. About the way he looked at her like she was the only real thing in his world. About how he was willing to burn everything he'd built to keep her breathing. Because he needs me, she whispered. And I think I need him too. Even though I probably shouldn't. That's not love, sweetheart. That's codependency. Maybe. Kennedy wiped her eyes. But it's what I have. The line was quiet. Then Sharon said, when you're ready to come home, when you're ready to leave this man and this life, call me. I'll come get you. No questions, no judgment. Just come home. Okay. I love you, Kennedy. Even when I don't understand you. I love you too, Mama. Kennedy hung up before she could break completely. She sat in the darkness of Minjun's guest room, phone in hand, and wondered when she'd become someone who made her mother cry. Minjun found her an hour later, still sitting in the dark. You called her. Not a question. He'd been monitoring the phone logs. Yes. That was dangerous. I know. He sat beside her on the bed. Did it help? Kennedy laughed bitterly. She thinks I'm in an abusive relationship, that I'm being controlled or manipulated or... She stopped. Maybe she's right. Am I controlling you? I don't know anymore. Kennedy looked at him. You've isolated me from everyone I love. You dictate where I go, who I see, what I can do. You make decisions about my life without asking me. That's control, Minjun. It's protection. Is there a difference? Minjun was quiet. Then, not in my world. In my world, the people I protect don't get choices. They get to stay alive. That's all. That's not enough. I know. He stood, moved to the window. But it's all I know how to give you. I don't know how to love someone without caging them. How to care without controlling. It's not... He stopped. My father taught me that love is weakness. That the moment you care about someone, they become leverage. The only way to protect them is to lock them away from the world. That's not protection. That's possession. I know. He turned to face her. But I can't seem to stop. Every time I try to give you freedom, I imagine what could happen. Someone taking you, hurting you, using you against me, and I... His voice cracked. I can't survive that, Kennedy. I can't watch you die. So I control everything I can. And I hate myself for it, even as I'm doing it. Kennedy stood slowly, crossed to him. Then we're both trapped. You by your fear, me by your protection. Yes. So what do we do? Minjun cupped her face. We survive. Together. And we hope that's enough. He kissed her then. Not with passion, but with desperation. Like he was trying to memorize the shape of her mouth, the taste of her. the proof that she was still there. Kennedy kissed him back. Because he was right. Survival was all they had, even if they were slowly suffocating each other in the process. The summons came 3 days later. Not from police, not from Sang-woo's organization, from Min-jun's father, Hwang Jin-woo, the architect of the Baekho Empire, the man who'd built a criminal organization that spanned 3 continents, the man who'd trained his son to be ruthless, controlled, untouchable, the man Min-jun feared more than anyone alive. "He's coming here," Min-jun said, reading the message on his phone. "Tomorrow, he wants to meet you." Kennedy's stomach dropped. "Why?" "Because I killed Sang-woo on camera. Because I've exposed weakness to every organization on the East Coast. Because I've done exactly what he warned me never to do. I've let a woman compromise me." "What will he do?" Min-jun's jaw was tight. "I don't know. But my father doesn't believe in second chances, and he doesn't tolerate weakness. Min-jun, if he tells me to let you go, I'll refuse. But Kennedy..." He looked at her, and his eyes were hollow. "That refusal will have consequences. For me. For you. For everything I've built." "What kind of consequences?" "The kind that end with one of us dead." The words settled over the room like frost. "Then maybe I should leave," Kennedy said quietly. "Before he arrives. Disappear before this gets worse." Min-jun crossed to her in 3 strides, gripped her shoulders. "No. Min-jun, if your father..." "I don't care what my father says. I don't care what he threatens. You're not leaving." His voice was fierce. "I've given up everything for you. My reputation, my alliances, my safety. I'm not giving you up too. Even if it kills you?" "Even then." He pulled her close. "You're the only thing I have that's real, Kennedy. The only thing I've chosen instead of had chosen for me. I'm not letting that go. Not for my father, not for anyone." Kennedy felt tears slide down her face. "You're going to regret this." "Probably." He kissed her forehead. "But I'm doing it anyway." Hwang Jin-woo arrived at noon the next day. He was smaller than Kennedy expected, barely taller than her, slim build, gray hair swept back from a face that held echoes of Min-jun's features. But it was his eyes that made her stomach turn. Cold, calculating, absolutely devoid of warmth. This was what Min-jun would become if she stayed. If he survived long enough. The thought terrified her. So this is her. Jin-woo spoke in Korean, addressing Min-jun like Kennedy wasn't there. "The woman who's destroyed everything I built." Min-jun answered in English, pointed. "We speak English. Kennedy deserves to understand what's being said about her." Jin-woo's eyes flicked to Kennedy, assessed her in one comprehensive sweep. "You're prettier than I expected. I thought my son had taste for something more refined." Kennedy lifted her chin. "I'm a curator with an MFA from Howard. I'm plenty refined. Educated, impressive." Jin-woo smiled, and it was the coldest thing Kennedy had ever seen. "Tell me, Miss Hayes, do you love my son?" The question landed like a trap. Kennedy glanced at Min-jun. He stood rigid, expressionless, giving her nothing. "Yes," she said quietly. "Interesting." "And do you know what he is? What he's done? The bodies he's buried, the lives he's destroyed?" "Yes." "And you love him anyway?" "Yes." Jin-woo nodded slowly. "Then you're either stupid or damaged. Which is it?" "Both, probably." Kennedy met his eyes. "But I'm here anyway." Something flickered in Jin-woo's expression. Not approval, but something close to it. He turned to Min-jun. "She has spine, I'll give you that. Most women would have run by now." "Kennedy isn't most women." "No. She's the one who made you weak enough to kill Sang-woo in front of witnesses. Who made you expose yourself to every organization on the East Coast. Who made you choose emotion over strategy." Jinwoo's voice went hard. You've destroyed 15 years of careful neutrality for a woman you've known 3 months. That's not love, Minjun. That's insanity. Maybe. Minjun's voice was steel. But it's my choice. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, she's made the choice for you. She's in your bed, in your head, compromising every decision you make. That's not partnership. That's infection. Kennedy flinched. Minjun stepped forward. Careful, father. You're talking about the woman The woman you what? Love? Jinwoo laughed. Love is a Western concept, a weakness we can't afford. In our world, there are assets and liabilities. He pointed at Kennedy, is a liability. She's mine. Then you're both liabilities. Jinwoo's voice went cold. And I don't keep liabilities on the books. The silence was suffocating. Minjun moved between Kennedy and his father. If you're threatening her? I'm not threatening anyone. I'm making an observation. Jinwoo sat, crossed his legs. Sangwoo is dead. His organization is fracturing. That creates opportunity, territory to claim, alliances to forge. But you're not capitalizing on any of it because you're too busy protecting a woman who's made you vulnerable. I'm handling it. Are you? Because from where I'm standing, you're hiding. Playing defense when you should be on offense. Letting fear dictate strategy. Jinwoo leaned forward. That's what she's done to you. Made you afraid. Made you soft. I'm not soft. I killed Sangwoo. You killed Sangwoo emotionally. Like an amateur. Like someone who'd never held a gun before. Jinwoo's disgust was palpable. The Minjun I raised would have made it look like an accident. Would have eliminated the threat without exposing himself. But you? You executed him on camera because you were angry. Because he touched something you care about. Minjun's jaw tightened. That's the difference, Jinwoo continued. Between the son I built and the man standing in front of me. You used to be untouchable. Now you're just another fool in love, making mistakes that will get you killed. He stood, moved toward the door, paused. You have a choice to make, Minjun. Keep the woman and lose everything. Or cut her loose and reclaim your position before it's too late. He looked at Kennedy. Nothing personal, Miss Hayes, but my son was better before he met you, and I want that version back. He left. The silence he left behind was crushing. Kennedy couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what she'd just heard. Because Jinwoo was right. Everything he'd said was true. She had made Minjun weak, had compromised his judgment, exposed his vulnerabilities, turned him into someone who made decisions with his heart instead of his head. She was destroying him. And the worst part was, she didn't know how to stop. That night, Kennedy packed a bag. She did it quietly while Minjun was on the phone with Ji-seok, discussing security protocols and territory disputes. Took only what she'd brought. Clothes, toiletries, the few possessions that were still hers. She was leaving. Not because she wanted to. Because she had to. Because loving Minjun was killing him. And she couldn't watch that happen. Couldn't be the reason he lost everything his father had built. Couldn't be the weakness that got him killed. She made it to the front door before his hand closed around her wrist. Where are you going? Kennedy didn't turn around. Somewhere you're not. Somewhere I can't hurt you anymore. Kennedy, your father is right. She pulled free, faced him. I've made you weak. I've compromised you. I've made me human. Minjun's voice was raw. You've made me human again, Kennedy. That's not weakness. It's going to get you killed. Tears slid down her face. And I can't watch that happen. I can't be the reason you die. So you're leaving? Yes? Without discussing it. Without giving me a choice. Because you won't let me go. You'll fight and argue and convince me to stay, even though staying is killing us both. Minjun stared at her. You're right. I won't let you go. I'll lock you in this house if I have to. I'll. He stopped. I'll become exactly what you're afraid I am. I know. Kennedy's voice broke. That's why I have to leave now. Well, you're still someone I can love. Before you become someone I'm afraid of. She moved toward the door. Minjun didn't stop her, but his voice did. If you walk out that door, Kennedy, I won't follow you. I won't beg you to come back. I'll let you go. Kennedy's hand froze on the doorknob. But know this, Minjun continued, voice hollow. The moment you leave, I become what my father built. Cold, controlled, ruthless. Because you're the only thing keeping me human. The only thing stopping me from burning the world down. Kennedy turned slowly. You're saying if I leave, I'll finish this war the way it should have been finished. Brutally. Efficiently. Without mercy or hesitation. I'll kill everyone who's threatened us. Destroy every organization that's opposed me. And I'll do it without feeling anything. Because feeling is what you gave me. And if you're gone... He stopped. If you're gone, there's no point in feeling anymore. That's not fair. You can't put that on me. I'm not putting it on you. I'm telling you the truth. Minjun moved closer. You think leaving will save me? Make me better? It won't. It'll just turn me into the monster I was always meant to be. The monster my father wants. The one who doesn't hesitate, doesn't compromise, doesn't feel. Kennedy's hands shook. So what? I'm supposed to stay and watch you destroy yourself for me? Or you stay and we destroy ourselves together? He cupped her face. There's no good option here, Kennedy. No choice that doesn't cost us. All we can do is decide whether we pay that cost alone or together. Kennedy closed her eyes. I'm so tired, Minjun. Tired of running. Tired of hiding. Tired of watching people I love get hurt because of me. I know. And I don't know how to keep doing this. How to be the reason you're weak when being weak could kill you. Then don't be the reason I'm weak. Minjun's voice was fierce. Be the reason I'm strong. Be the thing I'm fighting for instead of the thing that's destroying me. I don't know if I can do that. Then we figure it out. Together. He pressed his forehead to hers. But you don't get to leave. You don't get to decide unilaterally that I'm better off without you. That's my choice to make. And you choose this? Choose me? Even though it might kill you? Every single time. Kennedy kissed him. Not with passion, but with desperation. With the terrible certainty that they were both making the wrong choice and doing it anyway. When they broke apart, Minjun whispered, Stay, please, just stay. Kennedy looked at her bag by the door, at the escape she'd planned, at the freedom that would cost her everything that mattered. Okay, she whispered, I'll stay. It was the worst decision she'd ever made, but she made it anyway. The attack came 2 days later, not from Sang-woo's organization, not from Jin-woo's disapproval, from the FBI. Kennedy was reading in Minjun's study when Ji-seok burst through the door. Sir, we have a problem. Federal agents are at the gallery. They have a warrant. Minjun's face went blank. For what? Money laundering, racketeering, and... Ji-seok paused. Accessory to murder. They're looking for evidence connecting you to Sang-woo's death. The world tilted. They can't prove anything. Minjun said calmly. The warehouse was cleaned. The cameras were disabled. Sir, Ji-seok's voice was tight. They have footage. Someone recovered it before we could scrub it. They have you, on camera, killing Sang-woo. Kennedy felt the floor drop out from under her. That's not possible. We destroyed... Someone made a copy, uploaded it to a secure server, and now the FBI has it. Ji-seok looked at Kennedy. And they know about Miss Hayes. They're calling her a person of interest, possibly a witness, possibly an accomplice. The silence was absolute. Minjun turned to Kennedy slowly. You need to run. Now. before they connect you to this address. I'm not running. Kennedy, they have footage of you at that warehouse. They know you were there. If they arrest you, if they make you testify. He stopped. You'll either have to lie for me or condemn me. And I won't let you make that choice. Minjun, Jiseok, take her to the Baltimore property. New identity, clean papers, everything she needs to disappear. Minjun was already moving, pulling files from his safe. And make sure she understands. She can't come back. Not ever. Not even if I'm arrested. No. Kennedy grabbed his arm. I'm not leaving you to deal with this alone. You don't have a choice. He turned and his eyes were desperate. They have me, Kennedy. The footage is real. I can't fight it, but I can keep you out of it. I can make sure you're not charged as an accomplice. How? By making it look like I coerced you. Like you were a victim, not a participant. He cupped her face. They'll believe it. Young woman, older man with power, pattern of control. It's a narrative they'll buy. Kennedy's chest constricted. You're going to let them think you kidnapped me? I'm going to let them think whatever keeps you out of prison. Minjun kissed her forehead. It's the only way to protect you. But you'll go to prison instead. Maybe, maybe not. I have lawyers, resources, ways to fight this, but only if I'm not also fighting to keep you out of jail. He pulled back. So you're going to leave. Tonight. And you're going to let me handle this alone. I can't. Yes, you can. His voice was steel. Because you're strong. Because you're a survivor. Because I need you to live even if I don't. Jiseok stepped forward. Miss Hayes, we need to go. Now. Kennedy looked at Minjun. At this man who'd destroyed her life and rebuilt it into something unrecognizable. Who'd killed for her, lied for her, was now willing to go to prison for her. I love you, she whispered. I know. Minjun's voice broke. That's why you have to go. Jiseok pulled her toward the door. Kennedy looked back once, saw Minjun standing in his study, alone, already becoming the thing his father had built. Cold, controlled, preparing for war. And she realized with terrible clarity, killing Sang-woo hadn't ended anything. It had only proven that love was the most dangerous weapon of all. And they'd just pointed it at each other,